why people have different opinions on video games and why that's okay. So
now, why do you feel the need to make a video like this? Because people are not in agreement with you because you don't love this beloved game within the franchise, which happens to be Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. And to be honest with you, a lot of your opinions come off as ignorant. You're on record saying that you don't like JRPG games, but I can guarantee you probably play Pokemon. And the funny thing is, don't you have a video of you playing Super Mario RPG, but you just said you don't like Japanese RPG games? It's like this person that I used to talk to that said that turn-based RPGs is casual when the only game that they played was Pokemon. How dare you think you have the audacity to talk about turn-based RPGs being easy in comparison to action ones when all you did was play Pokemon? Like, I mean, come on, man. And this is the problem with the gaming community, is the fact that you people are ignorant and you people are hypocritical.
The main thing that people traditionally get really upset about and freak out about on the internet when it comes to me at the moment is when I give a sort of hot take on an older Nintendo franchise. For example, I don't love Ocarina of Time. I see the value in it. I see why so many people do it. I think it's great. And
now, how do you see the value in something that you don't care about? But go ahead.
Super appreciate it for the time and respect everything it did for the gaming industry.
Now, explain that. Now, go in detail as to why you believe that, regardless if you don't like it or not. It's the fact that you can't articulate video games, which is the reason as to why people are calling you out in your comment section. I could already tell by taking one look at you that you ain't nothing but a casual gamer. Like, I bet this person started playing games on the Wii, man. Come on.
But going back and playing that game now isn't the same experience that you maybe got in the 90s.
Now, how would you know that? You never played this game in the 90s.
Because
like, how are you speaking on a experience that you never experienced?
I am now akin to something that's a bit different. And I think my main issue with people screaming at me about having a different opinion.
No, it's not about you having a different opinion. It's the fact that your opinion is ignorant. It's coming from a perspective of a person that doesn't really know any better. That's the first take that I got. And guess what? This ain't no opinion. This is a straight up fact.
Is that it really starts to become an echo chamber. And the grand scope of video games and people talking about video games online, it's been relatively short. I mean, YouTube's recently a thing in the last, 20 or so years. And so because of that, it's now something that we can really start to share with people. When I was it's not something big, obviously, it's not like a traumatic shit. But when I was, first consuming a lot of Nintendo YouTube content.
Oh, well, there's your problem right there. There you go. You just answered your own question, but go ahead.
That everybody would talk about how the best game of all time is Ocarina of Time. Watch Mojo.
That's not true, because a lot of Nintendo people that I know would say games like Majora's Mask, Link Between Worlds, A Link to the Past, even the Oracle Seasons. See, that just goes to show you that a lot of these so-called quote-unquote Nintendo YouTubers that you was following, they're nothing but a bunch of casuals like you.
It was like top 10 best games of all time. Number 1 is Ocarina of Time. So naturally, I assumed I needed to play it, and I assumed it was going to be one of the greatest experiences I've ever had. Not understanding at that time, of course, as like a 13-year-old, that I'd actually grown up in the Wii generation, and I didn't have it.
Well, there's your answer, guys, man. Do I need to say any more? She calls herself a Nintendo fan, but yet you started playing games with the Nintendo Wii. Okay.
Very much experience with these older, like the first generation of really 3D games. And so because of that, I go and I buy Ocarina of Time on the virtual console and I play it. And I get, not super far, but far enough that I realize that
No, you need to explain how far you got into this game, man. Because if you stop playing it all because that one little short lady was blocking you from getting to that tree, well, then a lot of people are going to call you out for it. Because it does take a while. I mean, I look at it like this, man. When you played the child version of Link, it's more of a tutorial. It's like, it's an actual, like, and this is what made this game perfect. Child Link was kind of like a tutorial of what you should be able to do when you become an adult, I'm spoiling the game now, when you pick up the Master Sword and you actually, become an adult and do those big main time dungeons. You feel me? That's what the game felt like. That if you're a game developer out there and you want to make a tutorial for your game, Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time does it perfectly. Okay? To the point where it actually feels like it's a part of the full game experience.
Like this game.
While also teaching you how to play the game.
the way it played, I didn't like the way it looked, and all of those things obviously are products of their time.
What do you mean you don't like the way this game looks, man? This game is still very much peak, even in 2024. Like, are you not a fan of action-adventure games? Like, what is your opinion as to why you didn't like this game?
Obviously, Zelda has gotten better in the last few years.
Excuse me? Zelda has gotten better? Yeah, I'm going to have to disagree. Because where's the dungeons? In this, see, this is the problem. This is where it stems from the fact that you guys didn't grow up playing these beloved franchises, because anybody and their mama knows that you play a Legend of Zelda game, guys, for what? The puzzles and the mainline dungeons. Something that Tears of Kingdom and Breath of Wild severely lack in. Okay? See, I'm trying to tell you, these are the same people that play Tears of Kingdom and they just roam around the map not doing anything. You see, they can't play a game with a purpose. They can't play a game with an objective that you have to do. That's the reason as to why you probably don't like this game, because you want to have this freelance experience to where you could do shrines or just kill deers or just pick up plants whenever, or cook food whenever you want. You can't play a game with an actual inherent objective.
Obviously, it's not going to be the same. Like, obviously, it was crazy.
What are you talking about? It is the same.
To expect 2020... At that time, it was probably like 2016 level of video games from this game. Obviously, but as a kid, I didn't really understand that. And now looking back, obviously that's not what I'm going in expecting. But I can go in expecting to have a decent time and expecting to be able to play the game despite some of the shortcomings it has.
This game really has no shortcomings, man. I'm going to be honest with you. It really does stem off as a perfect game, even after this game has been released since 1998. This would be a perfect indie game by today's standards. Okay? See, that's what you people don't understand, man. I'm not saying that the game don't have its own flaws and problems, but the way the game is designed, it's perfect. It really is. This game will stand the test of time. That's why it's called the Ocarina of Time, right? I mean, as much as you want to hate this game, you still haven't gave a proper explanation as to why this game is as flawed as you claimed.
And I have gone into games and experienced them in that way. And honestly, I'm about at the water temple of Ocarina of Time. And
that is not the water temple.
Played it for a second because I really don't think it's a game for me, and I don't really
So you quit this game because you couldn't figure out the puzzles in the water temple. I think we get it.
Like it very much, but there's a lot of value there, and I can see that. And I like the idea that it's like this open sort of thing, and so I can see how cool that could be for people at that time. Now, the issue comes when I state my opinion on it that, hey, maybe it isn't my favorite game of all time, and hey, maybe if you...
It isn't my favorite Legend of Zelda game either. Mine's is Link to the Past, Link Between Worlds, Oracle Seasons. I mean, even Link's Awakening is very good. Majora's Mask. I mean, come on, man. I mean, at the end of the day, you haven't gave a proper explanation as to why you feel that this game is overrated. I can give people reasons. I think the bosses, as much as cool as they are, they're very lackluster. They're very easy to beat. You know, I think this game would have did very well if they had like a harder difficulty to it. But besides that, the game is very peak to me.
Back and you played it, or maybe if you put yourself in my shoes and you were playing
I'm not putting myself in your shoes, man. Oh, no, we ain't going there with that, bro. Like, you want a hardcore gamer to sympathize with a casual. No, I don't think I'm doing that.
For the first time, you wouldn't love it, because I can put myself in your shoes and understand that that's why you love it, and you have all these memories associated with it, and at that time, it was groundbreaking. So, of course, you're going to love that new groundbreaking game. It makes a lot of sense. And that nostalgia and that childhood memory with it.
No, I still think that if this game came out today, that I'd still play it, because it's a great, incredible game. See, you know, let's get to the point where she says she don't play RPGs.
Oh, makes a lot of sense. And even other people who have maybe played it more recently, or they're around my age, but they still played the game as a kid or something, all of that makes a lot of sense to shape your gaming likes and dislikes. But, again, that's not an issue. People having different opinions on a video game
but the problem is that your opinion is ignorant. What are you not understanding, man? I've seen your other videos. They're ignorant. A lot of the takes that you have in regards to these classic games are very much ignorant.
Isn't an issue. The issue comes when we are not allowed to express those feelings. When people attack other people for simply stating how they feel.
No, so I guess after making this video, and if people decide to share it to you, I guess I'm attacking her, guys. Oh, I'm attacking her! I'm gatekeeping her from the gaming community! Is that what you people are going to say? Yeah, right.
On an art form. Video games are art. art is subjective, okay? So you're
See, now that I would have to disagree. See, there you go. See, there's one opinion right there.
gonna have a different opinion than I do. You're gonna like things that I maybe don't like, and that's just how.
And that's perfectly fine, honey bun. But the issue stems from the fact that you are basing something off your own personal bias and ignorance. See, that's what you're not trying. That's what you're not trying to understand. Like, I mean, she goes as far to say, well, I don't like JRPGs, but I can guarantee you that she plays Pokemon. I can guarantee it.
The world is going to turn. It's how shit operates. We can agree on things, we can find common ground, but at the end of the day, it makes a lot of sense that maybe a game you grew up with, a game you love, isn't something that I grew up with, and therefore isn't a game that I know.
But I think I would have still enjoyed this game even if I didn't grow up on it. See, essentially what you're doing is that you're downplaying how great the game was. There's a reason as to why this game was groundbreaking when it came out, because there was no other game like it. So you're essentially downplaying these people, saying that, oh, I can bash this game and I personally don't like it in favor of Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild, which really don't serve any purpose besides doing a bunch of monotonous side quests and fetch quests with no real mainline dungeons. I wouldn't go as far to do that.
Necessarily
That's
love
ignorant.
to go back to after not having.
Oh, here we go. I told you.
Now, it is a similar situation here as isn't a good game, but for me at the time,
I wouldn't say it's a bad game. I think the game could be very enjoyable. I think the game is fun. Now you're downplaying your own experience to have a hardcore gamer sympathize with how you're feeling in regards to Ocarina of Time. I wouldn't go as far to say that. It probably wouldn't be the best game that I'd play, but it is definitely a fun and enjoyable game, and you should not downplay that game because of the criticism that you're getting on your channel.
Huge, and it was amazing because it was my first game I ever played, so I look back on it fondly, but I can understand why people don't like it. I can understand why people discount it. You know what I'm saying? And obviously, I'm not out here comparing Pikachu's Pokepark to Ocarina of Time. Obviously, that game changed the course of a lot of things, and Pikachu's Pokepark, for most people, didn't do anything. For me, it did a lot, because it was the first game I ever beat by myself.
Wow, the first game that you ever played. You didn't even play Pokemon Yellow.
Which was huge, but that personal value that games have to you is going to be something that we all weigh. And so when we talk about video games objectively, there's not much we can talk about. We can talk about what's objectively in these games, but once we go into explaining how we feel about them...
See, to me, it seems like you don't like games with a lot of mechanics, and that's probably why you didn't like Ocarina of Time, because it's a game where you have to understand and learn the mechanics. See, the problem is with Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild, they do have their own mechanics, but you can play the game the way you want. Well, you guys are like, well, the freedom, that's great, GameStop. I mean, come on, yes, that's good, but that's where you don't build your gaming skills. You know, you can play Tears of the Kingdom and have fun picking up dandelions and flowers. You're not forced to do anything you don't want to, and that's the problem with gaming. This is the reason why society is the way it is, because you're not forced to have to be a real law-abiding citizen. You could be whoever you want, do whatever you want without any consequences, without people saying anything, because you people are protected by this modern day in media. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to deal with this criticism.
That's when the subjective comes in, because games, more than a lot of different art forms, are really catered to your own experience with them, okay? So it's like, personally, I can't really get into JRPGs. I feel like they're too much of a time sink, and sometimes...
Oh, really? But you play Pokemon.
Sometimes the
But you play Pokemon,
annoy me. I think it's a little crazy. That doesn't mean that you can't enjoy
Hold on. You know, it's funny that you said that. Hold on. Give me 1 minute. Look at how biased you are. You want to sit there and talk about how you don't like JRPG games, and you're out here playing Super Mario RPG, which a lot of you guys, it's not Japanese. It's made by Square. That game was made by Squaresoft. The same people that made Final Fantasy, but you only like it because it's easy. Do you see what I'm saying? You're not, bro. See what I'm saying? It's the hypocrisy of these type of content creators. That's all I'm saying, man. I'm not saying she ain't entitled to say what she feels. But at the end of the day, when you're coming from a place of ignorance, people have the right to be critical on you. That's all I'm saying.
But there's also some games that I've played that I don't love so much. Or there's some games that I've played that I really like, but they're so frustrating at points that they really frustrate me and make me annoyed. Again,
Well, that's a part of being a gamer, right? Do you just give up on life when life is becoming too hard for you? Like, see, this is the problem, man. It's these mindsets that you people have. Oh, come on, games. This is video game, and why are you comparing this to real life? Do you just give up on life, girl? Because life gets too hard for you? No different than a video game. There's going to be challenges and obstacles that you're going to have to accomplish. It is what it is. That's a part of life, man. No matter what you do, fitness, exercise, no matter what you guys do in life, there's always going to be some form of an obstacle that you're gonna, or hump that you're gonna have to get over. Do you just stop doing it because of that? So do you just stop playing games because games just become too hard? Do you just stop living your life when life becomes too hard? Do you just stop exercising because you know you'll never look like that guy at the gym that's on steroids? Like what do you people want? You gotta find your own purpose in life.
Are all emotional responses I'm having to an experience that the video game is giving me. My emotional response is obviously going to be very different than your emotional response to this game. And so I make this whole entire video to explain to you why I view retro video games in the way that I do. I go back and I really try to play these games.
You do know Super Mario RPG uses the same gameplay mechanics from the Super Nintendo version of the game, and you enjoyed it, right? You see, this is what I'm trying to say, man. So you don't like retro games. Is that what we're getting with this video? And you probably don't like the Persona game footage that you use because it has gameplay very similar to turn-based RPGs, which is funny because I can guarantee you like Pokemon. You look like the person that would pick up Pokemon Arceus and what's the other one they had, guys? Legends and the Scarlet and Violet, but then claim that RPG games is trash. Oh, I hate RPGs, but yet you're playing a Pokemon game. Yeah, okay.
Is because people like you and also a lot of the other wider YouTuber space really love these games. They play them a lot. They're some of the best games of all time. So I want to experience those games naturally, as maybe I didn't grow up with them. I don't have that experience. So
I don't know if you grew up with siblings, brothers or sisters and stuff like that, because this is something that I have to appreciate, man. My cousin forced me to be the gamer that I am today, guys. Okay, he used to beat me up on Budokai, man, to the point where I made me want to cry, bro. I'm a little kid. He just beating me up on Budokai, man. All I keep doing is hitting my knees, bro. Like, man, and he just, smirking, hitting you like, you want to play? Smirking with the laugh, man. That's something we had to deal with cousins, bro. Now, I don't know if you see, this is the problem. And like, I get where she's coming from with the experience in the household and all that. But like I said, you never had that. You can't speak on an experience from back in the days if you never experienced it. That's all I'm saying.
Go back and I play them. But the second my opinion differs, I get fucking shredded in the comments. It's just crazy.
And now you're getting shredded in this video.
Now, obviously, YouTube comments on the internet are just not something that anyone's ever going to really be happy with or be able to control just because they're so all over the place, right? I'm not saying everybody. A lot of people are very kind about having different opinions and they're very understanding.
See, I'm very kind about that as well, but the problem is the fact that your opinion is ignorant, though. Like I said, I'm calling you out for this, man. Watch her say, oh, you're gatekeeping, you see, this is what hardcore... No! Your opinions are ignorant. You just said you don't like JRPGs, but yet you enjoyed Super Mario RPG. That is hypocrisy, woman.
But there is reasoning behind everything I say with my...
No, there's not, bro. I could tell, bro.
...experience with a video game. I beat all of Super Metroid, and it wasn't for me. I prefer the more linear style of Metroid, but I understand that a lot of people...
So you like the brain... See... What did I tell you guys, man? I told you, bro, all because she can't play technical games, bro. You heard it from her. I like the more linear, you see? So we know you ain't going to be looking forward to Metroid Prime. I don't want to do the backtracking because those old games made you think. That's why you don't like them. You like to play things that is easy, and that's why your favorite game was Pokemon, what was it, Poke Park? I'm not saying the game is not fun, but it doesn't challenge you in any sort of way. You like easy games. That's what I'm starting to understand where this video is coming from.
I prefer that more open-ended nature of it. They love the idea of getting lost in the Metroid world. That, for me...
What do you mean got lost? I never got lost in that game.
...is a point of frustration. And
frustration? Super Metroid frustrating?
I prefer things like Fusion and Dread. And so...
Oh, here we go. Streamlined games.
It's just an interesting sort of push and pull.
So just admit it. I knew it. I knew it from the beginning of this video. You just don't like to play games that are complicated. That's all it is. So therefore, your opinion is ignorant. You're not basing the value of the game because you know how to play it. You're basing the game, essentially, you're basing the game based on the fact that you can't play it. That's not a good argument. That just goes to show you that you don't know the mechanics of the game. And the fact that you don't like that is another reason as to why you can't judge video games. Because most people, as much as I might not agree with some things with people, but you have to be able to articulate and be able to express how you personally feel about these things. Okay? You're not giving me anything that makes me seem that, oh, okay, I understand from her point and her perspective of why she feels this way. All I'm hearing is that you're trash. That's all I'm hearing right now.
I feel of people saying, you have to play this game.
Because a lot of people would say you're the problem with the gaming community. You're the reason as to why gaming has been watered down because of your lack of commitment to going out there and actually beating these games. Thank God you didn't live in the 80s and the 90s where arcade games was blooming. No, you trust me, you wouldn't even. You'll be playing Final Fight and you'll be getting beat down by the guy that keeps going, knocking you down Streets of Rage 2. I put it on easy. He's still doing.
It's a game from my childhood. It's the best game of all time. Experience it. And then I do that. But the second I have a little bit of a different opinion, it all goes to shit. This is not to say that there's some culture war against, old games and new games or whatever, because at the end of the day, it's video games, and none of this shit matters that much. It matters to you and me, but in the grand scope of the world, there's much bigger problems, right? So, I say all of this to say that people should always be allowed to give their opinions.
No, I disagree. You should only be able to give your opinions based on the things that you know. And you clearly don't seem you know anything. I'm sorry. Like, for example, let me ask you a question, right? You do your makeup. I don't even know if she does. I'm just hypothetical. You do makeup, you get yourself together, you got your foundation on and all that, right? Now, let me go into a field that you're familiar with and tell you what you need to do. Okay? I'm not going to do that. Or you like playing with you get what I'm saying? People are intruding other people's hobbies, and this is why we have these type of videos and arguments, because you are looking at it from the perspective of a casual. You are looking at it from the perspective of a person that doesn't know any better. So, of course, people are going to call you out for that. So when you're out here making it seem like I don't understand what's going on here, I perfectly understand as to why.
On how they feel about a video game. We should never be gatekeeping.
See? What do you mean? Excuse me? Gatekeeping? You want to sit there and throw out terms like gatekeeping when all you did was gatekeep yourself? Did anybody gatekeep you because you couldn't get through Ocarina of Time? Did anybody gatekeep you because you couldn't get through Tropical Freeze? No, you gatekeeped yourself because the game was too hard for you to beat. Don't sit there and I can't stand this argument because I hear this argument so many times. Oh, you people gatekeeping, you gatekeep. Excuse me? Ain't nobody controlling you and what you doing with your controller. Excuse me? That's for you to decide. If the game is beating you or whooping you, that's for you, for your opportunity to either choose game over or continue, honey. I mean, what's going on here, bro? That it's for you to choose. The fact that you rather choose game over than hit the continue button means that you've already gatekeeped yourself from that gaming experience. Don't sit there and blame. She's like the same person that will blame people or blame McDonald's for why she got fat. Oh, I got fat because I ate all these patties and, it all went down on my waist. You want to find a person to blame. Instead, you don't want to blame yourself as to why you couldn't get good at the game that you're trash at.
This holy ass opinion about a video game from the 80s or from the 90s or from the early 2000s. If I love Mario Galaxy, people don't love Mario Galaxy. I love Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze. People
that's funny that you like Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze, but go ahead.
Don't love that game. I love Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom.
Do you see why the community is divided? Do you see as to why people are criticizing you? Did you hear what you say? Tears of Kingdom and Breath of the Wild are completely different than what the Legend of Zelda franchise has been birthed on, which is mainline dungeons. See, this is why you don't like these games, bro. All you're doing, every time you open your mouth, girl, all you're doing is giving us the information that we already knew about you. You're a casual gamer, and that's fine. Know your place and know that you shouldn't be talking about these situations, and know the fact that your opinion is ignorant based on the fact that you can't play these games. And what ends up happening, it makes you angry to the point where you stop playing it. That's why you don't finish these games. Okay, I guarantee I can give this girl $1,000 to try to beat Contra on the hardest difficulty, and she could not do it. Okay, $1,000 is some easy money for a 20 to 30-minute game. But since your mindset, since you would give up, you would never get through the game. You got to focus on your mindset first.
There's a lot of Zelda fans out there who don't love those games and want them to return to a more linear 2D style. I don't want that, but I can...
Did she just call the 2D Zeldas linear?
Understand that perspective, and I respect those people.
Did you just call the 2D? Now, I thought she was going to say 3D, but she said 2D, guys. Y'all heard that.
Still enough to not attack the fuck out of them on a personal level. And that's the thing.
Relax.
None of this stuff needs to be a personal attack to you. It's just opinions that people state. And these opinions are...
these ain't opinions, because these opinions mean absolutely nothing to a person that has been gaming for as long as I have. You think I'm going to sit there and take an opinion from a person that started playing games on the Nintendo Wii? Yeah, I don't think so.
They don't do anything. If
they don't do anything, then why did you make a whole video talking about how these people are falsely accusing you of not liking these games?
Metroid, which isn't true. I do like Metroid. But for example, I don't like let's pretend that I don't like Metroid. I say, I don't like Metroid, and you say, F you, you're a bitch, and women shouldn't be on the internet. Now, whoa, let's unpack that, because that is...
Here we go with this. Oh, my goodness.
A little bit more about you at a certain point, and your internalized misogyny, than about me.
Oh, is this what it's about? Oh, my God, bro. That's funny that you bring up Metroid. Don't tell me you only like Metroid when you found out Samus was a woman. So you wouldn't have been able to find that out on the NES of Metroid, because you wouldn't have beaten the game in time. You see what happens when you're a quitter, man. You see what happens. Here we go. And like, we went from gaming to misogyny. What?
An opinion about Metroid, right? So maybe instead of having these crazy overt takes that cut to a personal level, we can understand that, hey, this style of game isn't for her. Or, hey, maybe that's just an outlier.
I think people are going to respect the fact that you don't care for the game. It's the fact that your opinion is ignorant. People are not entitled. People don't have to respect you for your ignorance, girl. People don't have to respect you for that.
The franchise that she really likes, and that game just isn't for her, but she likes these other ones that do coincide with it. There's all sorts of things that people should be allowed to share and should be allowed to...
No, you should not be allowed to share this nonsense, because you are out here making yourself look like a bigger fool than you already was.
Some sort of opinion on video games regardless...
All these people was trying to do is help you, honey bun, and look at what you do.
Of if they beat them or not, because sometimes you put down a game because it doesn't work for you. Sometimes
what do you mean it doesn't work? The game works, you just can't play it. You just can't you can't get your brain to work to be able to work the game's mechanics.
Down a game like Ocarina of Time because it's not something I want to devote my time to because I'm not having fun. And that doesn't take away from the fact that you had fun with the game. It just shows my perspective on it as someone, again, who didn't grow up with it. Someone who hasn't been exposed to this franchise since the very inception of it. But
you like Tears of Kingdom and Breath of Wild, though, right?
In your opinion, that might suck for me. But in my opinion, I don't know any different, so it doesn't really matter. I'm not saying this to start some sort of war in the comments either. All I'm saying is this is why I have some certain opinions about retro video games. And this is why I feel the way that I do.
You don't like retro games because they're too hard, bro. I mean, I could only put Tomb Raider, PlayStation 1 right in front of this woman, and I guarantee you she'd be dying in the first 5 seconds of the stage. Okay? Like I said, man, at the end of the day, people want to listen to people that are knowledgeable about what's really going on in the gaming community. I guess, like you said, you're entitled to your opinion, right, honey bun? So... Therefore, all right, I'm going to call her Little Debbie. Hey, I guess you're entitled to your opinion, Little Debbie. But at the end of the day, nobody has to hear it and nobody has to respect it. Because you haven't put respect in yourself by going out there and doing the due diligence by going out there and beating these games. The fact that you have struggled so hard just to beat some Nintendo games, we already know she ain't playing no From Software titles. We know she ain't playing no big-of-the-line, top-of-the-line games because you know why? Because you don't have the skills. You haven't built up the skills, right? And like I said, maybe this is a problem based on how you grew up with your family and stuff. Because I noticed with people that didn't grow up with cousins and brothers and sisters like that, they have this mindset in regards to gaming. But I'm gonna tell you that you need to push yourself a little further more than that. That's all I'm gonna say.
Said many times in this video, I didn't grow up with these games. So I'm going back and I'm playing this with the bias of someone from 2024. And now, you can never really objectively look at anything because you're always going to have biases. They say this all the time in like journalism school. You know, you are always going to have your biases.
Man, you guys tell me what y'all think in the comment section, man. But at the end of the day, you're just ignorant and you don't know nothing about video gaming. I mean, what can she argue? She does nothing. I've been here since the beginning. Okay, I have all the things since the beginning. Nobody's going to take the opinions of a person that started playing Pokemon on the Wii. Okay, it is what it is, bro. You want to earn respect in this community, then you got to put the work in. You got to put the time and the energy of actually going out there and beating these established games. But no, you don't want to do that. You rather quit because I'm not having fun because you're hitting the game over screen. Well, guess what, girl? Not everything in life is easy. Do you do that? Do you do that in life too? Do you just quit when things get a little too hard for you, little Debbie? Okay. Anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, man. Like I said, take care.